Preserving humanity helped turn Vault-Tec into one of the biggest corporations ever within the Fallout world. But as the series has continued over time, there's new lore and data to consider, and just how far Vault-Tec's influences truly run. I'm Mark from Digital Dissection. I make Fallout lore videos, and today we're looking at 9 facts about the Vault-Tec Corporation and its interests. Vault-Tec's origins aren't explicitly always fleshed out, but with Fallout 76 entered some new lore. While many have known for decades that the corporation rose to prominence around the 2050s, it's detailed in West Virginia that the company exists at least 20 years before this point. In 2031, Morgantown sees what was likely West Virginia University purchased and rebranded, with Vault-Tec University officially becoming an institution. Top executives and researchers would attend the university for the corporation, and even though it would have a traditional curriculum at first, they would eventually transition to skills specific to the needs of employees. The shift in educational structure meant that a large number of Vault-Tec University's professors were fired, which was detailed in a terminal entry by Michael Blake, professor of linguistics and psychology. Ever since Vault-Tec bought out the university, they've been shifting focus away from classic education and moving towards more specialized classes. I've seen several other professors get the boot, but thankfully I seem to have been spared thus far. I should feel lucky that they believe language is a skill worth preserving in the event society collapses and we all need to move underground. Needless to say, Vault-Tec was an odd organization from the beginning. Fallout's world has a noticeably small number of organizations that end up surviving the Great War, but what Vault-Tec was doing in its earliest days is actually still up for debate because of very little information. As we mentioned earlier, the corporation had been established at least since 2031, and had to have been successful enough before this point in order to build its own university. Popular theories involve Vault-Tec having created smaller-scale vault technologies, like banking applications, home shelters, and possibly being a front for the Enclave that would form before the Great War. While these all could be possible, they're not confirmed yet. One lore explanation, however, takes form within the Fallout New Vegas Brotherhood of Steel, as they have noticed the similarities between pre-war vault technologies and that of most military bunkers of the era. While it doesn't explain Vault-Tec's earliest days, it's a valid connection between the US government and the megacorporation. Specifically, the Virtual Strategic Solutions bunker, housing the Operation Anchorage simulation, which functionally operates as an unnumbered vault and has technologies that require a Pip-Boy. Now, Vault-Tec did indeed create something similar to vaults, however. We're just not sure if they built their considerable empire off of it, and that would be the Series 1000 shelter. While it wasn't considered to be a true vault by definition, the subterranean product was a one-level installation that resembled more of a traditional Fallout shelter. A blueprint for the shelter can be found in Fallout 2, and it's used as a map of sorts for Vault 15. While not nearly as extensive as the larger-scale options created by Vault-Tec, the lower-cost alternative would seemingly be a better fit for those who couldn't gain access to the selective space available in the larger designs. The Series 1000, however, didn't appear to have a specific purpose designated within Fallout's games, except for a mention in the Fallout role-playing game, released in 2021. Its rulebook went on to say,
"It was a ray of hope in a profoundly dark time. Those too far from a full vault could buy a Series 1000 shelter, a one-level subterranean mini-vault, priced more reasonably for a small corporation or medium-sized community."
Vault-Tec, of course, turns a noticeable corner by the 2050s, as world tensions over fossil fuels began to slowly infiltrate several nations, including Europe and the Middle East. And by 2054, the United States would officially begin Project Safehouse as a means to combat impending nuclear war. According to the Fallout Bible, advances in construction technologies allow for the vaults to be produced quickly. And to fund the effort, the United States sells high-risk junk bonds that investors would never see a return on. But paranoia and fear are more than enough to influence reliable ways to pay for the future vault system. The numbers, however, to produce these vaults would be staggering, as it was estimated to cost $400 billion to create just one. But the average cost actually ballooned to more than $645 billion when construction was fully completed. In total, however, only 122 vaults are known to have been made, which leads to some more disturbing math. 122 vaults clearly wouldn't have been enough to protect the United States population, as there were 400 million citizens by the time nuclear winter was a possibility. The capability to safely protect the population was critically impossible, as some could house as little as 100 people, with larger installations potentially up to 1,000. Regardless, that means that no matter which way you estimate, the amount of needed vaults at minimum falls between 400,000 to 500,000, if the project truly meant to serve out its original purpose. No matter which way you looked at it, Project Safehouse would have never kept United States citizens safe, no matter what the logic was in the nationwide project. What made it even worse is that when the vaults were finally created, many of them ran emergency tests to ensure that who could gain entry to them were given enough notice to arrive should the bombs fall. Unfortunately, the repeated tests of the emergency system led to a cry wolf mentality, meaning that many prospective vault dwellers never even made it to their shelters because they thought it was just another test. The construction of the vaults themselves, however, was riddled with wasteful spending, embezzlement, and a black hole of political hell. It was all made possible because of specific government oversight. Pre-war legislation known as the New Amended Espionage Act made the secretive nature of the vault's network's creation punishable by law if disclosed to non-affiliated parties. Contained within the Vault Dweller's Survival Guide, its formal language states,
Notice: this document contains information affecting the national defense of the United States within the meaning of the New Amended Espionage Act 50 U.S.C. 31 and 32. Its transmission or the revelation of its contents in any manner to an unauthorized person is prohibited by the law.
Violation of the Espionage Act included a $500 fine and possible imprisonment. So it would seem that bureaucracy and government corruption can live seemingly within any universe, and Fallout's United States government would end up doing something far worse than this. Project Safehouse, beginning in the 2050s, coincides with the earliest known foundations of the Enclave, the supposed remnants of the US government after the bombs fell. But pre-war, this organization included at least the last sitting US president and many high-ranking politicians and corporate leaders. What's not entirely known is just when the Enclave decided to get involved with Vault-Tec's interests. But by the 2070s, Vault-Tec considered the United States a failed nation, and began working directly with the Enclave to use Project Safehouse for nefarious reasons. And ultimately, it shouldn't be a shock that manipulation of the Vault network beyond financial matters would end up happening. The Enclave would go on to be the inception of turning the Vault network into a testing ground for horrific experiments on humanity. These, of course, are documented heavily across the history of the franchise, but removing children from parents, widespread psychological testing, and human cloning were all cruel scenarios that are a part of Vault-Tec's partnership with the US shadow government. The Enclave, of course, performed these experiments as part of a concept to build a mothership to inhabit a different planet, and the horrific treatment they'd facilitate would hopefully solve many issues with prolonged space travel. But considering that Vault-Tec and the Enclave likely influenced worldwide devastation only to build it anew, it makes you wonder what it was all for. Of course, Vault-Tec, despite the unorganized and corrupted nature of Project Safehouse, actually managed to build technology that would have been truly capable of launching humanity into a post-apocalyptic future. The reason for why would be a division of the company that would become known as Future Tech. Vault-Tec had once used the branch as a secret research arm within the company, investigating advanced weaponry as well as alien technologies that had also been acquired by the Enclave. While early in Fallout's history it didn't get much of a story, that would change within Fallout 3, when they introduced a scientist by the name of Dr. Stanislaus Braun. Under Braun's direction, Future Tech developed the Garden of Eden Creation Kit, or GECK'd, a device capable of terraforming the barren landscape and 3D printing needed commodities, from clothing to buildings. The GECK'd devices didn't require a PhD to operate either, making them a critically important aspect of building communities and this new era of human survival. Unfortunately for Future Tech, financial investment into this technology caused very few vaults to actually get a GECK'd device. But the outcomes of the Great War could have been dramatically altered should they have gone mass-produced. For many years, the numbered vaults up to 122 were largely accepted as the only ones in existence. This, however, earns new lore over time, as well as new questions about how extensive the network truly is. and if vaults existed that simply didn't have numbers. We know of a few already, which include the White Spring Bunker of Fallout 76 that housed Enclave members in West Virginia. We talk about it quite a bit in a previous video. Some non-canon examples, however, include secret vaults within Fallout Tactics and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which include Vault Zero in Colorado, and another in Texas. Vault Zero acted as a way to build a supercomputer of the Earth's smartest people to hopefully build the key to humanity's survival. Once again though, these represent a gray area of lore for the series and often aren't accepted. What changed the landscape of the Vault network, however, was Fallout's first season on Amazon Prime, which showed a large map of vaults across the United States, but this also includes Canada and Mexico. Up until this point in the franchise's history, the United States was the only known location of Vault-Tec's network. But what's important to keep in mind is that both Canada and Mexico were annexed or invaded by their North American neighbors, and it makes sense that they'd expand the network into these areas. While we don't know much about the Mexico vaults, Canada was actually already referenced in Fallout 3, where rejection letters have a 5% chance of spawning in mailboxes, detailing a citizen's rejection into the vault system directly from Vault-Tec. The letters go on to say,
"In the interest of your family's security in the event of a minor nuclear event, please consider relocating to one of these areas, where Vault-Tec facilities are available without a waiting list. For a full list of Vault-Tec facilities with available accommodations in exciting locales such as Oklahoma and newly annexed Canada, contact your local Vault-Tec representative. Vault-Tec wishes you and your family the best of luck in the uncertain future. Best regards, Vault-Tec Public Relations Department, Washington, D.C."
So it begs to question what other vaults we don't know about, and the likely more that will appear in the future of the franchise. And with that, we've explored 9 facts about Vault-Tec and various aspects of the corporation's history. Did we miss any Vault facts you think are worth pointing out? Let us know in the comments. And for more content just like this video, check out the full Fallout Stories playlist included here. And until next time, pop culture nerds, keep on dissecting. This is Mark signing off.